Wednesday, UnWoke Nation. I'd like to welcome to episode 182 of the UnWoke Show, where free speech is welcome, all subjects are on the table, and your boys, Rich and Tim, bring you the latest and greatest for your entertainment, baby. I'm your host, Rich, along with my co-host here. How you doing, Tim?
Oh, great, Rich, man. UnWoke Nation, glad to be back with you guys this evening. Excuse me. By now, you know where to find us on all the major podcasting platforms, as well as you can reach us directly at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Guys, keep that coming. We are getting all sorts of great stuff. And I think even tonight, some of the feedback we received is what's driving the story we're going to do right now. So we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. Tonight, I want to ask our listeners a question that has nothing to do with political parties.
Okay.
It's about consistency. In a world where information moves faster than ever, where headlines shape opinions in seconds, we're constantly reacting, sharing, commenting, forming judgments. But how often do we stop and ask ourselves whether we're reacting the same way to every situation? Okay. Whether our outrage, our empathy, and our attention, are they applied evenly? Okay. So we're going to jump right in with something that actually I'd only discovered or came across originally in the last, I would say, 24 hours. Is a video that had spread across social media showing a white woman being chased and assaulted by a mob.
Yeah.
Okay. According to reports, a Longview, Texas woman was assaulted, and that lady's name is Sammy Lee. Again, was being assaulted by a group of individuals that were shouting Carmelo Anthony's name during the confrontation, specifically saying "Free Carmelo Anthony." Taking an already disturbing incident and turning it into another flashpoint in, I would think, an already divided country.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, the Carmelo Anthony story, it's not going anywhere fast.
It's not, man.
The likes of the Stephen A. Smiths of the world. It was just announced that Carmelo Anthony has a new team of lawyers that are going to take up this case.
For the appeal.
A lot of people believe that the jury was not a jury of his peers because it did not have any black representation. Okay. And then something else I ran across today that I think both of these stories are tied together. So last Friday was Juneteenth.
Yep.
And a 27-year-old by the name of Tonea Nichole Miller was found dead in Miami after traveling to Florida for Juneteenth weekend. She had traveled actually from Michigan. And it's not that she died, it's how she died. So she was found hanging from a tree limb near a Miami-Dade public park. Her death has generated significant discussion online, with many people in the Black community questioning why has it received relatively little national media attention. Okay. The lady Sammy Lee, her story happened to be on Fox News. But Tonea Nichole Miller, not so much. In fact, when I was researching this story about Tonea Nichole Miller, I had to do a double check just to make sure what I was reading was not some false made up story to try to generate, online clicks.
Yeah, and that's why we do so much research before getting online and make sure that we're doing an episode, make sure we do have the facts straight.
So again, if you haven't heard of Tonea Nichole Miller, again, she was found hanging from a tree in Florida, specifically the Miami-Dade area, during Juneteenth weekend. I just checked today, and currently authorities have not publicly concluded that her death was the result of a homicide or a hate crime. Right now, the prevailing theory is suicide.
See, but that's just what doesn't make any sense. Why did somebody travel to celebrate Juneteenth? So from what we understand,
Right.
from Flint, Michigan,
Yep.
all the way down to Miami, only to hang herself?
Yeah.
And this is happening. It's like, and no one knows about the story. You see, the thing is that, Tim, we've reported about stories like this. We've talked many a time about how we have a lot of times where the local and particularly the legacy media where it seems to kind of smorgasbord where their stories are going. And it's really frustrating. And obviously, on behalf of UnWoke Nation, obviously, our condolences go out to the family that lost someone. And it's just really, really sad, like, about how a story like this has not hit the news.
Right.
And I know where you're coming, especially like with the Carmelo Anthony story. It's like, that broke out, over the course very, very quickly.
Well, so the initial story for Carmelo Anthony, and this story is not about Carmelo Anthony.
No.
Right. But for context,
yes,
that happened, last year?
Mm-hmm.
And then the verdict was finally handled down, right? He was found guilty. He's going to do time, 35 years. It's the reaction to that, by the Black community. And I say that confidently because if you get on Twitter and you do any sort of search for Carmelo Anthony, or if you just happen to watch news clips from last week, because we did the Carmelo Anthony story last week.
Yeah, we did.
Or no, the week before. We were off last week. The grandmother was, hey, this is racism. A prominent Black female attorney was like, he was lynched in the court and stuff, right? And then you get on Twitter and you start seeing, oh, it's going to be open season on white people. It's like, white people don't come out this weekend. Don't do this, right? And then here it is.
Ridiculous threats.
Yeah, and then, we have Sammy Lee, who is attacked. She did post a note on her Twitter page, and it is called Sammy Lee. And I'm just going to read it here. It says, "Blood warning. I never thought I would ever make a post like this, but I have no choice. It is sad. It's sad shit like this happens in real life. Tonight, me and my best friend went out for drinks in Longview, Texas. Everything was fine. We had no issues in the bar at all. The moment the night is over and we're walking back to the car to go home, I get jumped by a group of random girls. Never said a word to these girls, never looked at them, and don't know them at all. I moved to East Texas to get out of my hometown, and I'm a college student. While getting jumped, they yelling out, 'Free Carmelo,' saying they was going to target the smallest white girl they could find, a case that absolutely had nothing to do with me. Black eye and staples in my head. I was leaking blood on the back of my head and my face. Totally caught me off guard. This shit is not okay. And bitches are going to jail. The world is already a messed up place. What did y'all get out of this? The people who know me absolutely know I didn't deserve this."
Yeah, and that's That's the problem where that's going on. And I know you and I had spoken about this earlier, Tim, about how there has been a position that's been taken over the course of the last couple of years where people feel, and particularly and also dealing with the race situation, that if you are a minority,
yes,
particularly a black minority,
yes,
and you end up committing what is considered in general understanding as a crime.
yep,
The basic understanding that's been put out there amongst local governments, especially in a lot of liberal towns and all that, if you are black and commit a crime, we will get you out.
right.
What we're going to do is we're just going to say, hey, you attacked Timmy, you tried to take his wallet or something like that. Timmy beat you up to defend himself. Well, what were you doing? I was trying to assault him so I could take his wallet.
Yep.
Okay. And he basically dropped you off like a nerd on prom night. Yep. Got a black eye. Yep. Broke his ribs. Yep. Well, you know what? I think Timmy was just being racist. How dare he sit there and try to defend himself against a black man who's trying to rob him?
Right.
Don't worry. We got two things going to go on. We're going to call the news, and we're going to get you a GoFundMe page. Now, we know you try to commit a crime, but, it's probably because, hey, maybe your dad wasn't around, or, maybe you wanted to rob him and all because, I don't know, maybe because, the neighborhood you grew up in or something like that. I mean, that's got to be pretty justified of why you did what you did, right?
Right.
So we'll just do that.
Yep.
And that's what's going on. That's what's going on in the community now. And the thing is that I think, people, even amongst in the black community, be a black person himself, even people are starting to get to the point where you have a lot more people speaking up online saying, enough with this crap. Black fatigue is real.
Yeah, and we've covered black fatigue previously.
And it's not just white people.
No.
Black people feel this way too. So let's not get that twisted.
So I think the reason the first story about Sammy Lee had caught news attention is because it's riding on the coattails of the Carmelo Anthony verdict.
Correct.
And it's in some ways proof of what was said once that verdict was announced.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be open season on white people. Okay. Essentially. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to sit here and justify why the national news has not covered the Tonea Nichole Miller.
Because there's no excuse for it.
So, agreed. But because of how the Carmelo Anthony story is such a hot button topic, I want to believe the Miami-Dade police are taking their time with this because I think they know just how much of a hot button situation or story this could potentially be, right? Mm-hmm. I think that now this doesn't justify why the news isn't covering it, why it isn't being said, because when you start to look up about Tonea Nichole Miller, the black community is already doing their own reporting. They've already classified this as a lynching. The family of Tonea Nichole is asking for a thorough autopsy and investigation, right? So we may not know for a couple of weeks. I think it's safe to say that if this story comes out in the national headlines, it will already fuel a situation that has been simmering or maybe even stirring a little bit for a while. But now that you throw in the whole Carmelo Anthony situation, it feels that if both sides don't calm the fuck down, it's only going to get worse. Okay. You could call the Carmelo Anthony story a lightning rod.
Mm-hmm.
The Sammy Lee case is definitely a result of that lightning rod. The Tonea Nichole Miller story would only send, the black community I don't want to say over the edge. It would just take a burning fire, throw more gasoline on it.
Yes.
That fire becomes bigger, right?
Yes.
Now, that doesn't justify why the media isn't covering it, and we're not going to get into why the media isn't covering it. Okay. I don't know that our listeners really care, right? But the reason I'm putting these two stories together is they do raise one important question. Okay. Why do some stories become national obsessions while others struggle to break through? Okay. When violence happens, does our outrage depend on who the victim is? I don't think so. Does media coverage depend on which narrative fits the moment? That's debatable. Okay. We live in a time where attention is currency.
Yes.
And not every story gets the same investment. That is true. Okay. Some incidents ignite immediate, widespread reaction. Ferguson.
Yeah.
Okay. Twice. While others remain confined to smaller circles, discussed but not amplified. In this case, I would say the Tonea Nichole Miller story, right? And that imbalance forces us to reflect not just on the media, but on ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't stress enough, tonight isn't about jumping to conclusions. We don't do that here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's about asking whether we're applying the same standards to every victim, every case, and every act of violence. I can tell you that we do not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very confident in that. Because if justice is supposed to be blind, should our compassion be as well?
No.
And maybe the real challenge isn't just demanding fairness from institutions, but practicing it in our own responses, our own conversations, and our own willingness to care, no matter who the story is about. UnWoke Nation, we're going to leave it right there for you guys. We'd love to get your feedback on this story. You can reach us at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Rich, a pleasure as always. And remember, guys, stay unwoke.
See you next time.